Arsenal have lost 2 games in a row, losing to Aston Villa at the Emirates and now Bayern Munich away at the Allianz. Now, while this isn't a lot of games and this is a selected amount, Arsenal tactically have been struggling in these games. But how do they solve their biggest tactical weakness and how do they get better to try and win the league for the rest of the season? Let's get into it. Now, first of all, I don't think it's complete panic stations for Arsenal. They lost to Aston Villa where they clearly got outmanaged, I felt like, in the game, and I think Unai Emery planned for it months ahead. And they also lost to Bayern. It was very unlucky, but they obviously, the team levels dropped and they didn't take their chances in the first leg. It's no secret that Arsenal definitely struggle against mid blocks more than they do low blocks or high lines. With a high line, they use people like Havertz to go in behind and try and make them runs, and also have a lot of runners, and they like the space with the ball in front of them. And with a low block, they basically pen your team in so they can get more and more players in the box and score a goal. However, against a mid block, it's a bit different. This is where the defensive strategy of the other two is between both of these systems. So they're kind of close to the goal, but they also develop and adapt into a high block at times. So when they kick the ball out and Arsenal have it more in their box, they will sort of push up and try and be aggressive to win the ball back. And specifically, the issue with this for Arsenal is that they can't play through teams. We saw this against Bayern Munich on the week. They put Harry Kane and Musiala in front of Jorginho, meaning Arsenal could not get the ball to the Italian midfielder. This obviously just limits Jorginho completely and means he can't do his long deep line passes. And when Declan Rice came to go and help Jorginho, Musiala and Kane moved to shadow mark both of them and block the passes, and this would also mean that the midfielders such as Goretzka would push up, be a lot more compact with the other players and sort of pen in Arsenal's midfielders in. Now, Arsenal really wanted to play through the middle, so they had Tomiyasu invert to try and create that when Declan Rice could push up, but the wingers for Bayern Munich actually came inside and inverted as well, tracking that run by Tomiyasu and making sure he didn't get the space to turn and run on with the ball. Now, we saw Porto do this against Arsenal as well in the Champions League. They want Arsenal to go to their wingers and get the ball to them, so when Arsenal tried to give the ball to people like Martinelli and Saka, then they would shift, with Sane, the winger for Bayern Munich, usually coming back and helping as well. This doesn't allow Martinelli to have a free dribble at Kimmich, and it makes it a 2v1 all time. Even with Tomiyasu inverting inside to try and give him support, the Lit will then come and help, so there's still 3v2 for Bayern Munich in defence. And this mostly happened on the other side, where Arsenal went through nearly all times in the first leg. Ben White was getting pressed heavily by Guerreiro, who's playing wing in this game, the defensive minded player, and Lyman was stuck to Odegaard, while Mazraoui was always shadow marking Saka. If Saka came deeper, Ben White to make the overlap, they would just switch over. Guerreiro would just switch with Mazraoui and still track the same player, not making it complicated. And to make this all perfect, when Kai Havertz came into position to try and help Arsenal wherever they are, they just had Eric Dyer track him the whole time, giving him no space and also being very on him. Now, obviously, this is very good. Not every team can just have a man marker every time and follow all the runners. But Arsenal going wide consistently is an issue for their team. They don't like having these players out there because often when Saka and Martinelli in a 1v2, 1v3, they can't really rely to go through them. And with this aggressive approach, it is really good for teams to be able to make sure Arsenal can't play with the ball. And when Jesus came on, Dyer kept to his same restraints and marked Jesus very well, coming into midfield, winning the ball. And Havertz was moved into midfield and couldn't even really get the ball in behind because they moved to a mid block where they were very solid and compact. Now, in order for this to actually work for Arsenal, it does take a lot of time and it probably won't be that effective this season. But in my opinion, the biggest issue is the midfield dynamics yet again. It's been a problem all season for Arsenal, and I think right now you can see why. In my opinion, Martin Odegaard should be an 8 player. He's really good when he's deeper with the ball and can progress and pass the ball up, being effective deeper on the pitch. In this game, he was very much forward a lot of the time, and we relied on other players to help with the progression, and it didn't work because we couldn't get the ball to Jorginho. Obviously, if Thomas Partey was playing, I think this would help a lot, but his fitness is concerning and he won't be at the club probably in the summer, so I expect them to get someone else in. Declan Rice is a really good player that can play as an 8 because he's very versatile and he's very good at driving with the ball and making good positions, but we need him deeper because of his ability to cover a lot of ground at once and be able to have help when he needs to. This is also affecting the left side of the pitch. Arsenal are only really effective on the right side right now. We go down the ball with Saka and Odegaard, who play very tight together, which I think is another concern for Arsenal because it's not giving Saka enough space. And often other teams will give space to people like Trossard or Martinelli on the left because they know Arsenal won't really go down there because we don't have that midfield progression. Arsenal love playing it through the middle and then getting it out wide. That's how we play. We can't do that because we don't have that. Havertz in midfield is useless. He doesn't want the ball, which I don't think works. We need midfielders that need to have the ball and are willing to be creative and help with the play. He is a player that is definitely a striker or someone that likes finding space up there. And someone like Smith Rowe, who plays in between the lines, is what Arsenal need right now. They need that midfielder that can play in between the lines and link up play in between the defenders and tight areas. If Odegaard maybe moved over to the left and played as more of an 8, and then we came in and brought a 10 in, I don't know if Smith Rowe or Fabio Vieira would be the right solution for that right now, but I think it would give Saka more space because I think there'd be a lot more fluid movement in midfield, and it would definitely give us a combined progression from the left and right side. And it means that Declan Rice is going to have to do a lot of defending, but I do think he could probably do it as much as he can himself, with maybe Jorginho would have to push up the defenders. And to me, Martin Odegaard is a more complete player that needs to be in the game a lot more than he is. I can't have him be getting the ball from deep and passing the ball off and then going forward and not getting it. As soon as they block the passing lanes to him, it kind of affects the whole team. And he is a great creative player, but when he can do all the other parts of the game, like being an 8 and working with the ball deeper, I think that would help us a lot more, especially giving big chances to people like Martinelli and Saka. This tweet here by EBL, he's a very good tactical guy on Twitter, it basically explains what I'm trying to say. Odegaard to run your attacks is like Bernardo Silva, incredibly individual, technical, brilliant players. They go in to create brilliant chances. They don't have that natural creative athleticism and sheer power on both feet to consistently do it. Bruno Fernandes does, but he plays in a crap system and is tactically awful. Odegaard is so tactically adept that he could definitely play the 8 role and still create a lot while also helping the rest of the team. Considering I think that Arsenal have Fabio Vieira and Smith Rowe on the bench that would not only help in between the lines, I think could give more of a space to Saka so he can actually get the 1v1 he wants to, and Smith Rowe can drag players away rather than being tight to him like Odegaard is. Now, and I understand Fabio Vieira, Smith Rowe haven't necessarily proved themselves as much as Odegaard has. That's why I wouldn't drop Odegaard, but we've got to think about the defensive nature, and that is a lot for Declan Rice to do for someone who's played a lot of minutes like he has this year. But in games where we are playing teams that I don't expect to play a full mid block because I don't think they have the capabilities to, and I know Odegaard has a little bit of a right side bias, but he has done brilliant passes down the left, and I think his technical ability is so good it doesn't really matter. And I think right now that's probably the solution for the team, because I don't know if Odegaard can be that number 10 in this right role right now for the team consistently if Arsenal are going to create chances. And I know what people are going to say, we created chances and didn't take them, specifically against Aston Villa, which is fair, but we didn't create too much. And considering our team are not clinical enough, we shouldn't be expecting our team to create 10-11 chances per game for us to score. It'd be a much cleaner process, and I think this would help people like Martinelli actually get into the game, which we want. And you might say, why has Arsenal not tried Odegaard on the left? And I think it's personally down to the pressing. Odegaard is probably the best presser in the club, maybe Havertz, and he needs to be there to win the ball back for Arsenal. But I personally don't think Smith Rowe is too bad of a presser, so it'd be very interesting to see if he does move and switch this system up, putting Odegaard on the left and Smith Rowe in the team as the 10. And I think long term, I'd probably try to find solutions around the midfield completely, but I think right now we have to sort of do this to try, because we can't bring anyone in. But at the end of the season, hopefully we can sort out these issues and help him create something. Of course, like every video, this is just my opinion. Let me know what you think in the comments, and let me know if you think they can solve this in other ways. I'd love to see what you guys want to say. Thank you guys for watching. Hopefully we can come back against Wolves this weekend. See you guys in the next one.